Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dre here. Welcome back to the channel. And today's episode, we're going to be restarting the NHL with a fantasy draft. Each team is going to get new players. Some of them might end up on the same team. Who knows? It's kind of something I'm looking forward to. Right now, we have the Rangers in first place, and we're going to be the Buffalo Sabres just because I wanted to try something with them. But if you haven't already done so, please do me a favor. Hit like that subscribe button, as well as hit the notification bell to be updated on all the videos, as it really helps out the channel as I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the year. So we're simulating 3 times here, and we're going to end up with the number 5 pick, and the Avalanche end up with the first pick, and the Washington Capitals end up with the 32nd pick. So I'm kind of excited. The computer's going to simulate everything for us. The only thing we're going to do is just go over the lineups and everything once everything is said and done, and we're going to simulate the rest of the year to see who actually wins the cup and point wises and all that good stuff. All right, so let's get right into the video and let the computer simulate. And the Buffalo Sabres have a pretty good team here, with Steve Stamkos being a top bona fide scorer, with Kane and Radulov rounding up the other top line. On defensemen, we got Morrissey and Hamilton leading the charge, so that makes a pretty good, solid defensive core back there. And our goaltending is going to be led by one of the best in Andrei Vasilevsky, who will definitely get you a lot of wins going forward. The Ducks have Alex Killorn and Pavelski with Mark Stone on the top first line. Other than that, nothing really stands out here for me. Defensemen Victor Hedman, Dumba lead the way. So that's pretty good D right there, but everything else is all right, with Ullmark going to get you a lot of wins, as he's another solid goaltending. With the Coyotes, Kachuk and Zegras are your bona fide superstars on this team. Other than that, nothing really stands out here for me. And in terms of the defensemen, Lindgren seems to be your best player along with Parayko. Keep your back end pretty clean. Other than that, nothing else looks good to me. With Jake Allen, not the greatest goaltending with Costa, so expect them to see a lot of goals going their way. Bruins with Kadri and Landeskog, pretty solid team here. Overall, I think, with Dahlin and Spurgeon leading their top 2 defensemen, it should be a tough team to play against, with Tristan Jarry as their goalie. Will keep them competitive in a lot of games. The Canes with Panarin, Dubois, and Atkinson looking pretty good first line there. Everything else looks pretty good. Good depth except for the fourth line. Quinn Hughes and Pesci leading the charge for them in the back end. Solid puck-moving defensemen, with Saros. Solid goaltending, solid back end there to keep them in competitive in games. The Blue Jackets, Keller, Pedersen, Tippett. Nothing else really stands out besides those 3 names. Theodore and Cernak should keep the goalie covered back there, with Samsonov providing decent goaltending for them. The Flames have a bona fide team here, especially the first line is going to be dangerous. Bergeron, Marner, and Kaprizov. That's going to be one heck of a team. Pelech and McDonough round out their defensemen, so I see this team being pretty competitive. And Varlamov as their goalie should provide enough of a spark to keep them in games. The Blackhawks, Gensel, Matthews, and Meir, another solid team here. And Uyghur, Namatvara round up their defensive core with Logan Thompson and Mrazek, making a solid goaltending tandem there to keep the Blackhawks competitive. Chris Kreider, McDavid, and Sheffield on this team is looking pretty good, solid. And even their defensemen are pretty good. Petrie and Nurse. Their goaltending is going to come down to Darcy Kumper, if you can help him out or not. Should be a competitive team anyway. The Stars, JT Miller is your star here with Lindholm. So it looks pretty good. Brodin and Makar is your superstar defenseman to help keep the teams at bay and score a lot of points, with Demko being their goalie and Copley. So this is a solid goaltending tandem right here. Michelli, Denault, Svechnikov. Other than that, I don't really see too much of a team here on the Detroit Red Wings. You guys are not going to be going anywhere, except for Heiskanen and Slavin are your best defensemen. Other than that, this team does not look good. And Aiden Hill is your goaltending. I expect Detroit to struggle a lot through the regular season. And the Oilers with Buchnevich, Nylander, and Larkin, solid first line. Everything else is all right with Romanov, and Adam Fox is your best defenseman back there to help keep the games competitive. You got Bobrovsky as your goaltender, so I don't know about that. Panthers, it looks all right with Farabee and Kuznetsov, Puljujärvi as your top line. Sergachev and Shattenkirk round up your top 2 defensemen to keep them competitive. Their goaltending is Ilya Shesterkin. So that should be a good goalie there to keep them in games and win some games for them. The Kings have Matthew Barzal standing out to me. Other than that, nothing else really attracts my eye. Even their defensemen, only Ekblad stands out. So not a big team that should be competitive. Even though Lukaninen and Crummy make a decent goaltending, I don't see the Kings going too far. Um, the Wild have solid stars throughout their lineups, at least the top six with Kachuk and Kopitar, Lindholm and Boqvist. Could be better defensemen, but not too bad. So I see them being a good team there. With Gibson providing some excellent goaltending, if he's on his game, the Wild can do some noise. Jack Hughes, your potential superstar going forward, with Huberdeau and Olofsson in the first line, should be pretty good. Other than that, looks all right with Shabbat and Ethan Bear in the back end helping out. The goaltending of Ville Husso could be a decent team going forward for the Canadians. The Devils end up with John Tavares, Kucherov, and Couture on a solid line one with Roman Josi and Devin Taves back there. So their defensemen are looking pretty good. Their goaltender actually was Vanacek, who's still in New Jersey. So they should be a good team to look out for. Ovechkin on the Predators with Garland and Hintz. Make a solid first line. Everything else looks pretty good. Defensemen Clefbaum and Hronek are your best players here. And Chernin. So they actually got a pretty good, solid defensive course. And Markstrom is your goaltending. You'll get a lot of wins out of him. The Islanders with Sylvoven and Mikko Rantanen seems to be the best players here for them. Nothing too crazy. Bo Byram and Ryan Ellis are your defensemen. And then you got Trouba back there. And Stuart Skinner and Binnington make up your goaltending. Not too bad. The Rangers, Suzuki and Kyrou stand out as much as I see in Robertson. First good first line. Defenseman Severson is your best player on this team. And Georgiev is back in New York, along with Talbot. Believe it or not, they both played for the Rangers in the past. The Senators, nothing really stands out for Heischer and the Brinkat. And Tarasenko is actually not that bad with George and Pollock in the back end. So Ottawa, pretty good team. Overall, I see they can make some noise with Vermelka, Ezergol, and Francois. So that's not bad. The Flyers, Cole Caulfield and Pasternak stand out to me. So pretty good two players there with Reinhart centering them. So should put some solid production with Hannafin, and only player that stands out for the defense is going to look very shaky. But Hellebuck will help him right the ship with some solid wins and stand on his head to get Philly some wins. Brad Marchand in Pittsburgh was Zibanejad and Fiala. Looking to be a good first line. Everything else looks pretty solid. I would say top 9. Werenski and Zadardov make up your goaltending. So, your defense, Shirokin will definitely get you some wins as your goalie. The Kraken get Draisaitl and Patrick Kane on a first line. That should be fun. With Matheson and Dobson back in the back end. Should help out Matt Murray. Win a couple of games, but I don't see them being too competitive with this team. The Sharks with Sebastian Aho and Johnny Hockey Gaudreau. Other than that, nothing else really stands out. Natchez is pretty good. Joseph and Savard round up their top 2 defensemen. Could be better back there, but I don't see much happening. And your goaltending, I'm not even going there with that. Montalbot and Grubauer, you guys will probably struggle a lot to get through. The Blues, McKinnon, Patrick Lonnie, and Nick Ehlers, pretty solid first line. Graves and Falk. Graves could be iffy, but I don't know. Maybe Carter Hart can help out your team win some games going forward. And then we got, the Lightning, who have won so many championships with Taylor Hall, Sagan, and Tage Thompson out there. That's your superstar. And Riley helps out the defensive end. So not bad, especially their defensemen are pretty good. And then Freddie Anderson and Mark Fleury. Solid goaltending. See them making some noise again going forward. The Leafs, Teravainen and Horvat seem to be the best players on this team right here, at least in the forward department. So they should make some noise with Anderson and Sider. You're pretty good defensive core back there with Ottinger and Brosbon. So this is a good team to look out for. I think these guys can make some noise going to the playoffs. The Canucks with their main superstar is Braden Point. And that's pretty much it that stands out here. Nothing else looks that enticing. Forsling and McAvoy are your defensemen. So that's actually a very good team. And Swayman, a hot goalie that he was this year in Boston, could carry the Canucks to some wins. The Knights, Barkov and Thomas seems to be the best players here with McNabb and Carlson back end. Solid defense I'd see here. And it comes to the goaltending, Gustafsson and Lankinen to make a decent team. Could definitely make some noise if they get in. This one's actually a very good team here. They're pretty solid all the way around with Pacioretty, Crosby, and Bozier, and Stutzel going forward. Petrangelo and Skage, I can't even say his name. So it's not bad, the defensive core, except for their 3 LD. And Antiranta and Riddick make up their goaltending. Their goaltending could be sketchy. And the Jets have Kyle Connor and Jack Eichel as your superstars on this team. Then you got some up and comers. Essa Lindell is your best defenseman going forward, so not too shabby. And then you got Spencer Knight, who is a pretty solid uh, goalie who should put some, you know, keep the Caps competitive going forward. So let's just get right into the stats and see how these teams did. All right, let's look at those. And coming in from the Atlantic Division with 109 points, the Buffalo Sabres are taking that. Along with Detroit Rings, Maple Leafs, Lightning, and Senators, they're all going into the playoffs out of the Atlantic. Coming in out of the Metropolitan, you got the Islanders leading with 95, the Rangers and the Devils are also making it through. Coming out of the Central, you have the Chicago Blackhawks, the Nashville Predators, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Colorado Avalanche all making it through. And out of the Pacific, you have the Vancouver Canucks with 110, the Flames 95, the Ducks and the Knights all making out of here. And Steve Stamkos leads all scorers for 91 points with Evander Kane 71, Marchessault 66, Eller 64, and Krejci rounding up the top 5, as you can see the other numbers from the other players. On defense, we have Dougie Hamilton leading the way with 78 points, Gustafsson 33, Manson 21, with Schultz tied. Cole in favor, and Morris here are the defensemen that has some points. Vasilevsky decides to go on a tear and gets 40 wins with a 911 save average, 283. And Scott Wedgwood chips in 12 wins for a 919 and 244, makes a solid tandem. And Connor McDavid 114 points throughout the season with Sheffield 113, two teammates. Ovechkin rounds up the top 3 with 104, but you got Ronton with 101. And Connor with 94, Kane 93, Matthews 92, Pastrnak and Larkin 91. Doug Hamilton had the best defenseman points with 78, followed by Fox and Riley at 73, Makar 72, Hedman 71, and Eric Arson with 66 points. And in goaltending, Vasilevsky once again had 40 wins, followed by Ullmark 38, Varlam and Anderson leading the charge there for the goalies, with Rantanen and Swayman coming in. The teams for the Rangers and Devils, Islanders and Lightning, Red Wings and Maple Leafs, Buffalo versus the Senators, the Predators and the Jets, the Blackhawks and the Knights, the Flames and the Ducks, with the Vancouver Canucks and the Avalanche playing for Lord Stanley Cup throughout this series. This should make for a good series. And once it's all said and done, the Winnipeg Jets have defeated the New York Islanders in 7 games to take this Stanley Cup playoffs from them, as we have restarted the NHL. So your Stanley Cup champions are now the Winnipeg Jets. And in the playoffs, Sidney Crosby led all scores with 35 points, 28 for Rantanen, 25 Pacioretty, rounding up the top 3. And defensemen, not a lot of goal scoring from them, but Pietrangelo had 16, Bo Byram 15, and Girardi with 13 goals respectively. Not a lot of production. Goaltending, you had Rantanen leading the way with Skinner and Francois getting those numbers. And again, if you guys haven't already done so, please do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe, as every single bit helps. And don't forget to check out my other videos. You can click the descriptions, the link above. I have some other videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, take care.